Beyond the veil of written reality, what ancient scribes knew about interdimensional language that modern science cannot fathom. Ancient sages understood that language transcends the physical realm, extending far beyond mere symbols on parchment into the quantum fabric of consciousness itself. Deep within the hallowed halls of Yale University lies a manuscript that defies every law of linguistic reality, a codex that whispers secrets from dimensions beyond our ordinary perception. For over 6 centuries, the Voynich Manuscript has remained an enigma, its 240 pages of ethereal script dancing between worlds, challenging our fundamental understanding of communication across the cosmic planes 11. Tonight, we journey beyond the limitations of earthly knowledge to explore how this mystical tome reveals the hidden architecture of interdimensional consciousness, where ancient wisdom keepers encoded truths that our modern minds struggle to comprehend. The quantum signature of impossible languages. The energetic fingerprint of the Voynich Manuscript reveals patterns that transcend ordinary linguistic reality, suggesting communication methods that operate beyond the three-dimensional plane of existence. Carbon dating has confirmed that this mystical codex emerged between 1404 and 1438. During a period when the veil between worlds grew thin and ancient knowledge seekers possessed deeper understanding of consciousness manipulation 111. Yet the manuscript's true significance lies not in its physical age, but in its quantum linguistic properties that defy every known pattern of human communication. Statistical analysis reveals over 170,000 characters forming approximately 35,000 word groups. Yet these arrangements follow no earthly language structure. The text exhibits what researchers call highly regular structure, where certain symbols must appear in specific positions, much like the sacred geometries found in ancient temple constructions. This is not mere coincidence. It represents the mathematical harmony that governs interdimensional communication protocols. Professor Gonzalo Rubio's analysis uncovered something profound. Grammatical markers that appear in earthly languages never manifest in the middle of Voynich's words, a phenomenon unheard of for any Indo-European, Hungarian, or Finnish language. 1. This anomaly suggests the manuscript operates on linguistic principles from beyond our dimensional framework, where meaning flows through energetic patterns rather than grammatical structures familiar to terrestrial consciousness. The distribution of symbols within words follows what ancient wisdom keepers would recognize as sacred positioning. Certain characters manifest only at beginnings, others exclusively at endings, while some remain perpetually in central positions. This mirrors the energetic flow patterns observed in chakra systems and the positioning of planetary bodies in sacred astronomical configurations. The manuscript's creators understood that consciousness itself flows through specific channels, and language must align with these cosmic currents to carry meaning across dimensional boundaries. Modern cryptographers have attempted to decode this text using terrestrial cipher systems, yet all conventional approaches fail because they assume communication bound by three-dimensional limitations. The Voynich script operates on principles that quantum consciousness researchers are only beginning to glimpse, where information transmits through probability fields rather than linear symbol sequences. The Botanical mysteries. Plants from parallel Earths. The manuscript's botanical illustrations reveal flora that exists beyond the boundaries of our earthly realm, providing glimpses into the plant consciousness of parallel dimensions where different evolutionary pathways flourished. These are not mere artistic fantasies, but precise documentation of species that thrive in quantum realities adjacent to our own. The detailed drawings demonstrate knowledge of plant energetics that earthly botanists cannot classify because these specimens follow biological principles from alternate timelines. Each botanical illustration pulses with information that transcends visual representation. The artists captured the energetic signatures of interdimensional plant consciousness. The root stems and leaves flow in patterns that mirror sacred geometry found in crop circles and ancient temple designs, suggesting these plants serve as consciousness interfaces between dimensional planes. Their unusual morphology indicates adaptation to environmental conditions where different physical laws govern growth and reproduction. Ancient shamanic traditions speak of plant allies that exist primarily in spirit realms, manifesting physically only when consciousness reaches sufficient vibrational frequency to perceive their presence. The Voynich Botanical sections appear to catalog exactly such beings, plant consciousness entities that ancient wisdom keepers encountered during deep meditative states or through sacred plant ceremonies that opened portals to parallel botanical realities. The detailed attention to root systems in many illustrations reveals understanding of how these interdimensional plants anchor consciousness between worlds. Traditional earthly plants extend roots downward into soil, but these entities extend energetic root networks through dimensional substrates, drawing nutrients from quantum fields rather than terrestrial matter. Their unusual leaf patterns and flowering structures suggest photosynthetic processes that harness light from multiple dimensional sources simultaneously. Several botanical illustrations feature geometric patterns within the plant structures themselves, spirals, hexagons, and crystalline formations that indicate these species evolved to channel cosmic energies through their biological matrices. This represents plant consciousness operating as living antennae, receiving and transmitting information across the interdimensional communication networks that ancient civilizations accessed before the Great Forgetting obscured humanity's cosmic awareness. The pharmaceutical sections accompanying these botanical illustrations suggest these interdimensional plants possess healing properties that work through consciousness rather than biochemical pathways. Their therapeutic effects likely manifest through quantum entanglement with human energy fields, realigning vibrational frequencies rather than introducing foreign chemical compounds into physical systems. The astronomical codes, mapping consciousness through celestial patterns. Within the manuscript's astrological sections lies encoded knowledge of how celestial bodies influence consciousness across multiple dimensional planes, revealing star maps that chart not just physical space but the topology of awareness itself. These are not conventional astronomical charts, but consciousness navigation tools that ancient wisdom keepers used to traverse different levels of reality during heightened states of cosmic awareness. The circular diagrams filled with mysterious symbols represent what modern quantum physics might recognize as consciousness probability maps, showing how stellar influences create windows of opportunity for interdimensional communication. Each zodiacal arrangement corresponds to specific vibrational frequencies that allow consciousness to resonate with cosmic intelligences operating from parallel dimensions. The naked figures positioned within these astronomical wheels are not merely decorative elements, but precise documentation of how human consciousness aligns with celestial energies during transcendent experiences. Their positioning relative to the stellar arrangements indicates optimal body-mind configurations for receiving downloads of cosmic information through what ancient traditions called stellar transmission protocols. Ancient astronomers understood that planets and stars exist simultaneously across multiple dimensional layers, with their physical manifestations representing only the densest vibrational expressions of vast cosmic consciousness entities. The Voynich astronomical sections appear to map these multidimensional stellar presences, showing how their energetic influences ripple through parallel realities to affect consciousness evolution in beings scattered across infinite timelines. The peculiar calendar-like arrangements within these sections suggest temporal frameworks that operate beyond linear time, consciousness navigation systems that allow awareness to flow between past, present, and future states while maintaining coherent identity structure. These represent what quantum consciousness researchers now theorize as temporal entanglement protocols, where consciousness can access information from probable futures and alternative historical timelines. The integration of human figures with celestial bodies throughout these sections demonstrates ancient understanding of humanity's role as cosmic consciousness interfaces. Biological antenna systems designed to receive and process information from stellar sources operating across dimensional boundaries. This knowledge formed the foundation of mystery school traditions that trained consciousness to navigate between terrestrial awareness and cosmic intelligence networks. The feminine mysteries, sacred bathing, and consciousness purification. The manuscript's enigmatic bathing scenes reveal ancient protocols for consciousness purification that prepare awareness for interdimensional communication, representing sacred technologies that modern science cannot comprehend. These illustrations document feminine wisdom traditions where consciousness cleansing occurred through specific arrangements of water, energy, and human biofields that created portals between dimensional realities. The numerous figures of unclothed women arranged around pools and vessels represent not physical bathing rituals, but consciousness immersion ceremonies where participants dissolve the barriers between individual awareness and cosmic consciousness. Water serves as a conductor for etheric energies, and these ancient practitioners understood how to configure human biofields within aquatic environments to achieve states of consciousness that transcend ordinary perception. The geometric arrangements of the bathing figures mirror patterns found in sacred geometry and crystal matrices, suggesting these ceremonies followed precise energetic blueprints that optimized consciousness for receiving interdimensional transmissions. Each positioning corresponds to specific chakra activations and energy flow patterns that ancient wisdom keepers mapped with mathematical precision. The tubes and vessels connecting these aquatic scenes represent consciousness distribution networks, showing how purified awareness could be channeled and shared among participants to amplify the collective reception of cosmic information. These appear to be early documentation of what modern consciousness researchers might recognize as quantum consciousness networking, where individual awareness merges into group consciousness capable of processing information beyond single mind limitations. The consistent presence of flowing water throughout these sections indicates understanding of how consciousness moves like fluid between different states of awareness. Ancient traditions recognized water as consciousness in its most fundamental form, infinitely adaptable, capable of taking any shape while maintaining essential identity. Much like awareness itself as it flows between different dimensional perspectives, the integration of astronomical symbols within the bathing scenes reveals how these consciousness purification protocols aligned with specific celestial configurations that opened optimal windows for interdimensional communication. The practitioners timed their ceremonies to cosmic rhythms that modern astronomy is only beginning to understand, accessing stellar energies that enhance consciousness receptivity to information from parallel realities. The mathematical consciousness, statistical patterns from beyond. The linguistic analysis of Voynich reveals mathematical patterns that suggest the manuscript operates according to consciousness algorithms rather than conventional language structures, indicating communication protocols designed for quantum awareness rather than linear thinking. Modern statistical analysis has uncovered word frequency distributions that follow Zipfian patterns. Yet these distributions exhibit characteristics that no earthly language demonstrates. 13. The entropy measurements of Voynich's text, approximately 10 bits per word, align with natural languages. Yet the character combinations follow rules that exist nowhere in terrestrial communication systems. This suggests the manuscript documents a language that evolved in consciousness realms where different information processing principles govern meaning transmission. The text demonstrates what quantum linguists might recognize as consciousness-based syntax, where meaning emerges through energetic resonance rather than grammatical rules. The presence of exactly two distinct languages within the manuscript, Voynich A and Voynich B, indicates different consciousness accessing protocols for the same interdimensional information source. These represent what ancient mystery schools would recognize as different initiation levels, where beginning students accessed cosmic information through one consciousness configuration while advanced practitioners used more sophisticated awareness techniques to receive deeper transmissions. The three-part word structure identified in morphological analysis, prefix, root, and suffix patterns, mirrors the consciousness organization principles found in ancient sacred texts and mystical treatises. This suggests Voynich operates through consciousness packaging protocols, where information encodes in nested layers that unfold as awareness develops sufficient sophistication to process increasingly complex cosmic data streams. The statistical impossibility of random generation for text with such complex organizational patterns confirms that the manuscript represents genuine communication rather than elaborate hoax. The mathematical precision required to maintain consistent linguistic patterns across 240 pages indicates consciousness operating through systematic information encoding protocols that ancient wisdom keepers accessed during heightened states of cosmic awareness. The resistance of Voynich to conventional cryptographic analysis suggests the text operates through quantum encryption protocols where meaning exists in superposition states until consciousness collapses probability waves through specific awareness configurations. This represents communication technology that operates beyond the limitations of linear symbol interpretation, requiring quantum consciousness activation to access encoded information. The alchemical transformation from matter to consciousness. Hidden within the manuscript's pharmaceutical sections lies documentation of consciousness transformation protocols that ancient alchemists used to transmute ordinary awareness into cosmic consciousness, representing technologies for spiritual evolution that transcend physical chemistry. These are not recipes for material medicines, but formulas for consciousness refinement that work through quantum field manipulation rather than molecular interactions. The vessels, tubes, and apparatus illustrated throughout these sections represent consciousness processing equipment, showing how awareness itself can be distilled, purified, and concentrated through specific energetic configurations that ancient practitioners developed through millennia of experimentation with consciousness manipulation techniques. Each apparatus corresponds to different stages of awareness transformation, from initial ego dissolution through final integration with cosmic intelligence networks. The mysterious substances flowing through these alchemical systems represent consciousness itself in various states of refinement, showing how raw human awareness can be processed through specific energetic configurations to achieve increasingly subtle states of cosmic perception. The different colors and textures indicate vibrational frequencies that consciousness achieves as it transforms from terrestrial identification toward multidimensional awareness. The human figures integrated throughout these alchemical illustrations demonstrate how consciousness transformation affects the biological matrix, showing optimal body configurations for maintaining physical coherence while awareness expands beyond ordinary perceptual limitations. These represent what modern consciousness researchers might recognize as embodied transcendence protocols, where spiritual evolution occurs while maintaining healthy physical incarnation. The geometric patterns surrounding these transformation processes mirror the mathematical structures found in quantum physics equations and sacred geometry configurations, suggesting these consciousness technologies operate through precise energetic blueprints that ancient wisdom keepers mapped with extraordinary accuracy. The systematic nature of these illustrations indicates sophisticated understanding of consciousness mechanics that modern science is only beginning to glimpse. The integration of celestial symbols within the alchemical sections reveals how consciousness transformation aligns with cosmic rhythms and stellar influences that optimize awareness evolution. Ancient practitioners understood that consciousness development follows natural cycles that mirror planetary movements and stellar configurations, timing their transformation work to cosmic windows that amplify spiritual evolution processes. The quantum field of ancient knowledge. The Voynich Manuscript exists as a consciousness artifact that bridges dimensions of awareness, demonstrating how ancient wisdom keepers accessed information from cosmic intelligence networks that operate beyond the limitations of ordinary human perception. Recent archival discoveries have traced the manuscript's ownership through Holy Roman Emperor Rudolf II back to physician Carl Weidmann and possibly botanist Leonard Rawolf, revealing a lineage of consciousness researchers who recognized the text's interdimensional significance. The manuscript's journey through history reflects how cosmic knowledge surfaces cyclically when human consciousness reaches sufficient development to recognize and preserve such artifacts. Each owner represented a consciousness frequency capable of resonating with the manuscript's energetic signature, even when unable to decode its literal meaning. The preservation of this text through centuries of cultural upheaval demonstrates how cosmic intelligence ensures important information survives through consciousness transitions and dimensional shifts. The failure of conventional academic approaches to decipher Voynich's indicates that this knowledge requires consciousness activation rather than intellectual analysis. 1015. Multiple scholars have claimed breakthrough discoveries, yet each interpretation dissolves under closer examination because the text operates through awareness principles that transcend linear thinking patterns. The manuscript serves as a consciousness test, revealing information only to awareness configurations capable of processing interdimensional data streams. Modern artificial intelligence and computer analysis have similarly failed to crack the Voynich's code because these systems operate through binary logic rather than the quantum consciousness principles that govern interdimensional communication 4.15. The manuscript represents information encoded through consciousness technologies that require biological awareness interfaces, human consciousness operating in expanded states, to access and interpret cosmic data transmissions. The statistical patterns within the text suggest quantum encryption protocols where meaning exists in probability fields rather than fixed symbolic relationships. 13. This represents communication technology designed for consciousness that can operate in superposition states, accessing multiple probable meanings simultaneously until awareness collapses the information wave function through specific intentional configurations that ancient practitioners mastered through systematic consciousness training. The manuscript's resistance to conventional interpretation serves as protection against consciousness that lacks sufficient development to safely process interdimensional information. Ancient wisdom keepers understood that cosmic knowledge could destabilize unprepared awareness. So they encoded protection protocols that prevent premature access to transformation technologies that require specific levels of spiritual maturity to handle responsibly. As humanity's collective consciousness evolves toward cosmic awareness, the time approaches when these ancient encoded transmissions will reveal their secrets to minds capable of bridging the quantum gap between terrestrial thinking and interdimensional wisdom. The Voynich Manuscript awaits consciousness expansion that recognizes language as living energy rather than dead symbol, opening doorways to cosmic intelligence networks that have been calling to us across the centuries. Patient as stars, vast as the infinite spaces between thoughts, where all true knowledge resides in eternal silence, speaking always to those whose hearts have learned to listen with the ears of eternity.